Welcome to the Floral Shop podcast, where flowers and business blend seamlessly. Join our journey to uncover the secrets of elite event designers and get insights into the art of running a successful floral shop. Here is your host, Ziv Raviv.
Hello and welcome back to the Floral Shop podcast. Today with me is Jeroen from Rhode Island, and he is from the Wicked Tulips flower farm. I'm excited to talk with you. Hello, Jeroen.
Yes, hello. Thank you for having me.
We often have people in the flower industry that they have a shop, and you chose to surround yourself with probably way more flowers than the amount of flowers that fit into one shop with your own flower farms and the tulip flower farms. Tell me a little bit how that came to be.
Oh, long story, I think. I mean, first of all, I grew up on a tulip farm in Holland. And as a kid, never thought that I was going to become a farmer. Because if you grow up on a farm, as a kid, you're working quite a bit. And then, so when I was 18 years old, I did not think I was going to become a farmer. But then I went to college for something else. But when I was done with college, I got kind of the inspiration to find my career in the flower industry. And I actually found a job in Woodland, Washington, on the West Coast. I was a grower for a big farm over there. So our tulip farm started in 2009. And that was basically a couple of years after I had my job at the West Coast. And I worked for that large farm. And I always thought one day I want to have my own little farm. But I don't like to sell my flowers to grocery stores or even to florists, but sell everything directly to the consumer. Making people happy with flowers is what's my passion. And I really like to have that direct connection with the customer.
So these days, the farm makes money by selling flowers directly to the consumer.
Yeah, we grow about 1.5 million tulips over 3 locations. And we are purely an touristic event, meaning people come to our farms and they actually pay an entrance ticket to go to the farm to enter. So everybody who comes need to buy a ticket. We actually do that online only, so people have pre-purchased a ticket, and the ticket includes 10 you-pick flowers. So all adults pick their 10 tulips, and if they want to pick more, it's $1 a stem.
I'm curious about the monetary value of a visitor. Usually, on average, do they actually take more than the 10 that are included in the tuition? Do they?
Yeah, I mean, of course, there are so a ticket in the weekend is $23, and during the week it's $20, and so 10 tulips are included, and there are probably 60% just picks those 10 tulips, and they're happy with those. But there are also many customers who pick another 20, 30, or buckets full. And it's actually sometimes we get florists coming to our farm because our tulips are very unique. Because if you go to a grocery store, you buy flowers, they're grown in greenhouses, and these flowers are grown outdoors. And that makes it, outdoor growing makes it suitable for a way wider variety of tulips. And so we have certain parrot tulips, which florists sometimes come to pick because they're only $1 a stem. And if they buy them from a wholesaler, they might be $2 a stem wholesale.
You know, there's a saying about farmers that they work hard most of the year and they make money in short bursts a few times of the year. So it's people that are often, they're rich and poor throughout the year, depending on when they make their money. Tulips don't grow throughout the year. You open up your farms usually just in the spring, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you can grow tulips in a wider season because you can buy tulips right now in February but tulips outdoors they typically only bloom for a month or so, or maybe 6 weeks if you're somewhere out west with a more mild climate. But it is our events are typically, so we have 3 locations. They are only like 2 or 3 weeks each. So we are in total, our season is about 5 weeks. And
Wow.
that is how like 80% of our money comes in. We also do have an online bulb store. So people purchase bulbs for their own home gardens, which we ship in the fall. And so that is the other 20%.
So you are a very responsible person that makes money in 5 weeks, mostly like 80% of it, and managed to live through the rest of the year successfully with your 3 locations. You chose to have 3 locations because it was working for you.
Yeah, I mean, it is for initially when we are here in Rhode Island and we have 2 locations in Rhode Island and 1 in Connecticut. Land availability there's not a lot of land availability. So initially we thought about 1 big event, but we end up starting smaller events. And I'm actually very happy I do that because for the risk management, like tulips, they are a relatively easy flower, but still crop failure happens. And there are actually some companies in New England who start copying our business model. And 2 of them, they had already a complete 100% crop failure. And so it is good to, now we have 3 locations. It's less likely that 100% of our income will be a waste.
Have you ever considered also having a part of your business that is not outdoors?
Yes. I mean, we are here in Rhode Island. This is going to be our 8th season, I believe. And we are in the works of designing a greenhouse. And I would love to also have some, like a Valentine's event that people can come into the greenhouse. But one way it will be a less risky operation because in a greenhouse you are able to control the environment. But the more difficult part is building, and especially when you build a Dutch glass greenhouse, the initial investment is high. So to do that, you need to have some capital, or like you cannot just build a 5,000 square feet a greenhouse and start that type of business.
Right now, what's working for you in terms of marketing your events?
I mean, we are experimenting with things, and it looks like last year we did quite a bit of print with like local magazines, etc. And but it looks like that just like Meta ads is still our biggest and cheapest way to reach people. And tulips, they do have some sort of magical something around it. Like everybody gets very excited when they see tulips. And of course, with social media, that is a very big benefit because people love to share actually also our advertisements. Like if we are saying in 3 weeks we are opening our UPIC event, people love to share that. So social media ads, and so particularly like Facebook is still our biggest. And we start trying with like TikTok and influencers and that kind of stuff, and does not seem to really do its thing. Maybe we are not really knowing what we're doing yet. But yeah, I would say a regular Facebook posts and then Facebook and Instagram advertising.
How big is a team of like one location to run like this farm?
So in total, on our payroll during our 3 events, we have a little over 200 employees. But most of them work only 3 or 4 weeks out of the year. And so they don't make many hours over the year. But our team of managers is in total, because they kind of, the locations are relatively close to each other, like only 45 minutes or less. And we have about like 12 managers managing the events.
How many visitors do you get in a good day?
About on one location, the biggest location, about 3,000.
Wow. Do you ever run into a situation where the season is ending and you have too many tulips left?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have good seasons and bad seasons. And our goal is not that all tulips are being picked, because we are selling an experience. We are selling that people pick flowers in a blooming tulip field. So it's not the goal to sell more than like 60%. But we have had years, like it is just hard to plan. And we have had years with a little too short tulips, or the opposite, that you just have a lot left over because of like sometimes in April you get 2 or 3 days very hot temperatures, and then tulips are done very quickly, and that can make a big impact financially.
Did you have a significant impact on your business with the pandemic years?
We were quite lucky. It was kind of a crazy time, but we were lucky that we were able, that first year, we were not able to open, but we were able to do a drive-through event. And people were driving the car basically through the tulip field, and they pre-purchased the flowers. And we were still doing, I think, 60% of the revenue what we hoped to do. So for a pandemic year, that was for us quite wonderful that we got all the support, that people came out in the cars to not pick the flowers themselves. And the year after was, I think most people experienced a great year after the pandemic, or during, kind of still. People really wanted to get out. And so, yeah.
What do you think is the hardest, do you feel is the hardest part of running a farm, a tulip farm?
I mean, I think it is the fact that we are making our money in a couple of weeks' time, and that crop failure is a possibility, and that can either be with like a soil issue or a root disease, or it could be like too much water over the winter. And so that stress to deal with, and especially when we had only one location, because now I'm feeling like they're not going to be all 3 very bad. But when we only had one location, like we put every year per location, if we put 500,000 tulips in the ground, times like 20 cents or so, we put about $100,000 in the ground each year. And so that is quite a big deal if you have a crop failure.
Wow. You have quite a team working with you, but you don't need to hire them all year long, most of them. Do you have any problem hiring the temp help?
I mean, we are lucky also then with the tulips that it is such a happy thing. So temporary staff, we don't really have a problem hiring. And we are building on our management team. They are also not, we have only 2 or 3 of the managers who are year round, but part-time. And then we have a team of 8 or so. Some do farm support, and some do other little tasks around, but they're all part-time. And I only have now 2 full-time people who help with the farming. But it is a challenge to find good people because we are so seasonal. It is a challenge to make like most good people have a job where they can work year round. And so that is definitely a challenge.
Do you use any online service like Indeed to hire?
No. No, we are, one thing we have been doing very good, and that is getting email addresses. And we have an email list of more than 130,000 people. And so if we are sending an email out, so no, that is like Indeed, etc. is not needed. And I think our email list is very valuable there. We can reach a lot of people, and then we always get a good reactions on that.
How often do you send an email before, like prior to a season, to people to invite them?
I would say twice a month, 2 times a month. And so when you actually, were earlier asking about marketing, I failed to say that. Like that, email marketing is our biggest winner. Like it is, we were like when we only had one location, we were very, very lucky that we were so popular that it was almost like we said, like, if you want to come to our event, you need to be on our email list, because we sent a notification when our tickets go on sale to our newsletter subscribers first. And that has really helped growing our list. And that is, of course, very valuable if you have such a large list of people who are actually very interested in your event. Then also with ticket sales, because we have a quite unique situation that our tickets go only for sale 2 or 3 days before we open our event, because it is so hard to figure out when the tulips are ready. And it's very important for us to provide this beautiful experience, a beautiful, like, magical, oh my God experience. And you never know exactly when that happens, when the field is that colorful. And so it is usually like 3 days in advance that we send out our newsletter blast if tickets are on sale, and then very quickly, like weekends, sell out.
How often do you hire a photographer in season to take like new pictures of how does it look like?
I mean, I like to take pictures, and we have some other on staff, so we don't hire photographers. Although this year I'm saying something that's not true. We have actually one lady who is during the season often there to also make pictures for support for marketing, take pictures of families picking flowers, etc. But for social media, etc., I like to make my own pictures.
Just out of curiosity, what do you use for sending the emails to your list?
MailChimp.
MailChimp? This is really inspiring. You're creating an experience for people that is unique, and you're already doing that for quite a few years and successfully. And it's really is an experience that is beautiful and special. And what's the weirdest request you had from a visitor about like what is allowed and what is not allowed? Or
what's the weirdest request? I mean, I don't feel. I mean, I think can I bring my pony or something, or my whatever, like to make a picture, and it is a very sweet pony and will not do anything, like those types of things. And I mean, the nice thing, when people come to our event, people say things like, "This is how heaven must be," or something like a.
Oh.
So you hear a lot of those type of wordings, and we are very, from the beginning, focused on showing the beauty of nature, and we have a very simple event where we really let the flowers do their job, or their like the magical thing. And that, I think, really works out. Like we don't do a lot of entertainment around it. We don't have food trucks. It is really, you go to a farm and everybody That's also one of the beautiful things of what we are doing. Like sometimes in the world, we start to feel that nobody likes each other anymore. You can barely say hi and you receive a hi back. At the tulip field, like everybody just seems to be like one community and helping each other and smiling to each other. And that is really a beautiful thing, that it is actually our business providing that experience.
So you don't even sell drinks or anything?
Yeah, I mean, we have water available. And like one of the strategies is as well that parking is always an issue because we are on leased land. And so making a real parking lot is not possible. And we basically also, the benefit of not providing food is that the people come, they enjoy it, they spend their money, and they leave within like 45 minutes or so. And so if you, like a lot of agri-tourism businesses, they all talk about added value items. And of course, we can think of things what might be financially beneficial for us. But at this moment, we are just very simple. Come and within 45 minutes, they leave and they make space for a new guest. And so that makes it easier to have more people during the day coming. And if you start to provide food, that 45 minutes might become like an average of an hour and 10 minutes. And then your parking lot needs to be like 30% bigger.
Do you ever have a problem with people trying to sneak some of the tulips, like to that they took more than 10 and they don't want to pay extra, or any that type of problems? How often is that?
I'm sure it happens, but we have there also a very interesting approach. We do an honor system. So basically people pick their flowers and we have a self-wrapping station, and we actually let people write down on their own sleeve how many flowers they have. And so, yeah, if you want to steal, you can steal. Of course it happens, but we don't feel that we are losing like thousands of tulips. The bigger loss is people pick a flower by accident, or they pick something and then they think, oh, I don't really like it, and they try to stick it back. Like with every you-pick operation, you need to be able to accept there will be loss. And I come from large-scale farming. I've worked for some very large greenhouse farms as well in the US. And there is always like 15% loss is very normal. But it's a lot of, if you grow 50 million flowers, 15% is a lot of flowers. Like, so, and we don't do that amount, but in the greenhouse industry, that's what the numbers I was looking at. And right now, yeah, we grow 1.5 million tulips. And I'm sure still 10% is being just lost because people handling the product, and they are sometimes, what I say, they put them back or whatever. But we have always field crew cleaning that up. And as long, yeah, like most of the people are very respectful, and we don't see that as a big problem. It's just part of the business.
Love it. This has been a great opportunity to learn about a different part of the flower industry. And I find it very inspiring how you insist on selling directly to the consumer through an experience. And I want to thank you for sharing your story with us. And now we're going to shift into the Floral Shop podcast game show. We have 5 questions for you. I'm going to read them out and give you 4 options to choose from. Let's see how you do. Question number 1. So in the language of flowers, what does a red rose symbolizes? A, friendship, B, passionate love, C, sympathy, or D, good luck?
I think it is B, passionate love.
It's pretty be passionate love, but actually, flowers can symbolize a lot of things. Red rose, usually something more romantic. Question number 2. What is the recommended method for reviving wilted flowers before a big event? A, submerging them in hot coffee. B, placing them in a bath of cold water for an hour. C, spritzing them with a mixture of water and sugar. Or C, cutting down the stems and placing them in warm water.
I think it depends a lot what kind of flower we talk about. So yeah, what kind of flower are we talking about? Because roses will be different than tulips.
Great question. So what would you do with tulips?
I would just cut them and put them in cold water.
Gotcha. Well, that's correct. Cutting the stems and placing them in water, I guess cold in case of tulips. Don't put them in hot coffee. Question number 3. When caring for orchids, what is a common mistake that should be avoided to ensure their well-being? A, watering them daily. B, placing them in direct sunlight for extended periods. C, repotting them every month. Or D, ignoring them for weeks at a time.
I think that is B, leaving them too long in the sun is not good for orchids.
Yes, and it is a very common mistake, although some people will also ignore flowers. They will buy them and ignore them, and that's very sad too. Question number 4. What is the purpose of adding glycerin to the water in a vase when working with certain flowers? Is it A, to create a sweet fragrance, B, to prevent wilting, C, to make the water more visually appealing, or D, to stimulate faster growth?
That's a difficult one. I actually think I have to gamble because I don't know the answer, but I think let's go for B, prevent wilting.
That is correct, and probably not something that everyone are using glycerin. It's probably just a choice that some do. And for question number 5, what is the significance of the flower baby's breath in floral arrangement? Is it A, it represents sorrow and condolences? B, it symbolizes purity and innocence? C, it wards off evil spirits? Or D, it is used to create a bold, dramatic effect in bouquets?
I think it is B, the purity and what was it?
Yes, purity and innocence. Baby's breath is a very pure-like and
nice,
naive like touch. You are correct, and you are the winner of a Facebook campaign setup and optimization session that takes 1 hour. We go through everything in your Meta business account and give you tips and advice on how to make it better, and even improve your visuals and copy and audiences. And that's something that we will arrange after the show to schedule with you. So again, Jeroen, thank you so much for sharing with us your story and what works for you. This has been awesome. And I hope you guys enjoyed listening to the show. We'll put the link to your website on our show notes. Thanks again, Jeroen.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning into the Floral Shop podcast. For more floral resources and stories, visit our website floralshoppodcast.com or step into our school at floralshopacademy.com. Don't forget to subscribe for our next flowery adventure. Keep blooming until we meet again.